College Football Connection podcast with Marty Jenkins and Alvin Reid on 101 ESPN.
On any given Saturday, especially in the SEC, chaos reigns. We saw as much one short season ago, and it's time to get you ramped up for another round of that revelry. How's it going out there, everybody? Bradford Bruns, Alvin Reid, Marty Jenkins, the whole College Football Connection band is back together again for the 2025 season. And boys, today we are digging in a very deep manner into that conference and league that we all love to hate, and yet we can't get enough of it. How are we today, gentlemen?
Absolutely great. Full house. Got the full house, baby.
The mad scientists, the Pride of Pacific, and the Mayor of Kirkwood, the boys are back in town, and you know it's time to get serious when Bradford rolls in with the Mizzou Nike shoes on.
Oh, my goodness gracious. From P-Town, from Franklin County, Four Rivers Conference country, to all the way out there, you guys watching, listening to us. We appreciate it on the 101 ESPN YouTube channel, as well as 101ESPN.com. Last week, Marty, so happy to have you back for this go-round. Alvin and I took that dive into Big 12 territory, and yes, beyond just that, of the great area of Lawrence. We're talking SEC, though, here today. We're going to have some big-time win totals. We're going to basically hover around those and tell you the direction in which you should proceed for 2025. But, guys, so many different areas to cover, yet we have to start at the top. And when you're talking about the team that is considered by the coaches, at least, and we would expect the Associated Press information to confirm as much next Monday. So the initial poll, top 25, 9 SEC schools. Not exactly a surprise there. Included among the top 25. And at the top of that heap would be none other than Texas. Arch Manning, so much hype, obviously concentrating on that young man. And in the very first week of the season, what a test. I wouldn't call it a trial by fire circumstance, but those Longhorns, number 1, going up against number 2. We're going to get a feel, Marty, right away for what Manning and company have to offer, because you're taking on the defending national champion from the Ohio State University.
And the Ohio State University, in my opinion, is going to have a bit of a down year, I believe. They lose a lot. Texas comes into town. Over 9.5 is what I'm playing here.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's 9.5. I think they damn near run the table, and I think Arch is ready. They're loaded on both sides of the ball. I think this is the year they finally break through. I love this team. They got it all, and I think Arch, young, but I haven't seen this much hype in a long time, but I think he's ready for it. And 9.5 wins, taking a look at the schedule here, even if they lose week 1, which if you're going to lose early.
Do it early.
Do it early.
And then you take a look at the rest of their schedule, and I love over 9.5 in this one.
I am too. And I'm with you on that. They could lose at Columbus. Mm-hmm. Ohio State loses. We'll get in Big Ten later, at a different show. But Ohio State loses 9 guys on defense. They don't have the defense that they're bringing back. Again, they could lose that game, but, man, the rest of the schedule, are you going to lose at Florida? I don't think so. It's a neutral site game against Oklahoma. Where's Oklahoma at this year? Mm-hmm. I only see them losing 2 games at most. I'm over on that one.
Yep.
Very easily.
I am mildly surprised, though, guys, by the sheer number of people out there, the experts, the pundits, and whatnot, who seem to be anointing Texas as the surefire number 1 squad. Now, last season, we sat here, we stood in this studio, and you remember in this particular conference, I was absolutely bullish and questionably so on the University of Georgia. I said, hey, those dogs are going to be leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. Mm-hmm. And it seems as if right here, right now, as we get into the early preliminary part of August, Texas seems to have earned that reputation, and I do question whether it's totally just. Here is why. I don't have any qualms. I don't have any concerns whatsoever about the defense, okay? Mm-hmm. You are returning 3, in all likelihood, All-American types from a group that, yes, finished 3rd just a year ago in scoring defense. But you have to replace 4 different offensive linemen of the starting variety. Kelvin Banks Jr., arguably the best guy at his position, left tackle in the entire country. We know that last season, the quarterback play for long stretches of the season, Quinn Ewers, wasn't exactly superlative, okay? But what happens for this group? You bring a couple of quality guys back, no doubt about it, at receiver, specifically Wingo, the area kid. Matthew Golden is gone, your top vertical threat. What if Arch Manning, right off of the bat, isn't quite as immaculate as we think he's going to be? To me, there are more wrinkles potentially for this program than a lot of us are letting on. That's just my take.
Well, you got 3 easy games after Columbus. That's when Arch Manning could get himself together. I do not think Arch Manning will win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think he'll be one of the top 2 vote getters in the Heisman Trophy. I mean, there'll be a lot of hype, but I think this will be his, like, hey, you play a lot of tough teams a lot of different weeks. How good are you? I think he's been anointed like he's a great, great quarterback. I didn't see it last year, really. And so we'll see. I'm with you on that. But I just think when you look at their schedule and you look at their talent, easily 10 wins. Okay? So let's take them to the 10 wins. But then where they go from there, we'll see. If he develops, I mean, if he hoists that trophy in New York December, then shame on me. But I ain't buying into that hype real quick just yet.
You're aboard that train, though. You're a little more aboard the train, right?
Well, listen, I agree.
To a degree.
I agree. The Achilles heel is the offensive line. You only bring back one starter on that front. But I agree with Alvin. Listen, let's say things go wrong in Columbus. Arch has a poor game. They get beat. You're getting reps out of your system, and then you're following up in the coming weeks with teams that you're going to beat.
Sure.
Okay? So I like it from that standpoint. But also, Ohio State's defense, as Alvin mentioned, lost damn near the whole team. So I don't know if that offensive line issue in week 1 is going to be as big of an issue as predicted. But I'm very intrigued to see how much protection they give him.
Well, make no mistake about it. August the 30th, that is the date. Circle it on your calendar, ladies and gentlemen, because not only do you have OSU as well as, of course, the University of Texas, but elsewhere in the SEC and bringing the ACC as well into the equation. Marty, we're going to get into this team second of all, because I do think that it's in the midst of perhaps that upper tier. You can tell me otherwise, maybe just invoking a little bit of a response out of you, my friend. I'm going to say it. Another big-time participant that first weekend. It is LSU. It is Coach Kelly's Tigers going up against Clemson. Hey, I'm excited about it, if for no other reason. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong. Kelly stands a legitimate chance of dropping his 4th consecutive season opener, but I'm being totally serious about this one, guys. I do firmly believe that entering 2025, I think so much of the hype is going toward other definitely athletically gifted quarterbacks and ridiculously great dual threats in this conference. But maybe the most polished, the most experienced quarterback coming back is Garrett Nussmeier. And from top to bottom, I don't know if another roster altogether has more talent than LSU. Now, that's not to say that I'm picking this team to be atop the heap at the very end, but a great opener for that matter. And we'll see exactly if the defense this season can rise up, if Harold Perkins Jr. is able to stay healthy, and you have more continuity on that side of the football to do something in year 4 there in Baton Rouge.
Well, listen, we all know how we feel about Brian Kelly, along with 90% of the country. But listen, I love both of these teams. LSU and Clemson.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, over 8.5 is where I'm going with LSU, because you take a look at the quarterback situation, everything else they bring back, and the schedule, okay? You open at Clemson, whoever loses that game, the schedule's favorable going forward.
Yeah, you're not going to fall a lot. You're not going to plummet if you take the L there.
No, I love over 8.5 in this one, and I think this is, the season where Kelly does break through. And I think they do get to the college football playoff. Not a fan of Kelly at all, but I am a fan of this team. I think they're damn good, and I think you can make a case that they should have been number 1 in the country heading into the season.
There's no way. There's no way. I'm sorry, Marty. With that guy as coach, there's no way they should have been number 1. And 2, you know what? The only reason I don't have them at 8 as opposed to 9, which would be the over, is because I don't know where Oklahoma's going to be the last game of the season in Norman. And Oklahoma could win that game. I'm telling you, Oklahoma could win that game, and that would leave, in my book, LSU with 8 wins, not 9. Okay? And I think LSU can figure out a way to lose a game they aren't supposed to win. Fellas, I'm sorry. I know that this is a Kelly-based decision. I'm going with the under on this.
Okay.
I think that I think he'll be lucky to have a job at this time next year.
Oh.
Well, I mean, he'll have a job, but there will be people after this year, especially if they don't make the playoff. I think there'll be people that say, like, why are we paying all this money? He was good. He was supposed to come from Notre Dame and win the national championship.
Here's what I mean by that. The year Florida State won it all, I was on it from day one, and their preseason ranking wasn't that high. I said Winston and company are going to get to the national title game, and they're going to win it. They did. It's the one and only prediction I've ever gotten right in my life.
Eat it up. Eat it up.
And never forget it now. Yeah, always throw it out.
I feel this way about this LSU team. They're top 5 team in the country. What was their the rankings just came out. I think they had to have been 5th or 6th. Something.
Number 9 for the coaches, which is
Number
a
9?
slight surprise. Coaches.
Okay, all right.
And what the coach is looking at? The other coach.
Okay, I think they go 11-1, 10-2.
Okay.
So you got them what? You got them losing to Clemson and losing to Alabama.
Right off the bat.
No, I got them beaten. I love Clemson, but I think they beat Clemson. They got Florida at home. They go to Tuscaloosa.
That's one.
This Oklahoma team, don't get me started on them. I think they're going to be significantly worse than people think.
Well, they're talking next year stuff already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So that's what I'm saying. By the time you get to the last game,
LSU, remember it, my friends.
Okay.
LSU.
Okay.
Where's their second loss? You said 2 losses. Where's their second loss?
I think it could either be, at Alabama.
That's one.
Yeah. But I think that's a coin flip the first game at Clemson.
Okay, all right. So they could lose. So that would be their second. All right, okay. I thought you were saying that.
Lose early, too.
All right. I thought you said you had them beating them. That's okay.
I totally agree.
Clemson's going to beat their ass, man. I'm telling you. I'm like,
Clemson. Put some coin on that,
Clemson is, last 3 out of the last 4 years, Clemson has been the moneymaker for me. Right off the bat.
Oh.
Yeah. Last year it was to lose. I forgot. It was Georgia Clemson, and that line was too close, so I won betting against them. I think 2 years before that, were they home against I forgot who it was. But anyway.
But you're rolling with them.
Clemson, that first game, I seem to have a little thing going with being Clemson. And it's not always to cover. It's still, straight out. I had them.
Line too?
Yeah, money line too last year.
Alvin says, give me some Cade Klubnik. Thank you very much.
I like him.
I do believe week 1 is going to be a total toss-up. When I view that figure, though, guys, it's not as automatic for me as hitting that over for Texas at 9.5, 8.5, LSU based on sheer talent alone. And in year number 2, keep this in mind. Yes, admittedly, I am a big fan of Blake Baker there, the defensive coordinator, year number 2 in Baton Rouge, coming over from Mizzou. It's a feast or famine style of defense, but he has the athletes, he has the ability there on the edge, I think, to maximize that talent. So I will go over, yes, with LSU, at least 9, but talking about signal callers and questions do abound in that category in the SEC, despite all of the talent that you have in place in the league. Let's talk about a team that desperately needs more consistent contributions from the quarterback position, but I don't necessarily know if that's going to happen in Tuscaloosa. Perhaps, though, it should, because the Crimson Tide, 1 year removed, guys, from a 4-loss campaign. There were highs, there were extreme lows for an Alabama team in a fan base more directly accustomed to greatness. Year number 1 from the Pacific Northwest didn't exactly go swimmingly for one Kalen DeBoer. I do think that the seat already is hotter than most people want to let on. Okay, I really do. But coming back, returning with a largely intact offensive line, the baton at QB is passed from Jalen Milroe to Ty Simpson. Now, we don't know a lot about him other than the fact that a couple of years ago, another highly regarded recruit, of course. But if you're talking about a team that has Ryan Williams on the outside, you know that you have the foremost toy in the entire country at that spot, other than maybe Jeremiah Smith. You know that you're going to be running the ball. And that defensive line is once again as deep, as strong, I think, as any other squad in this conference. That total right now of 9.5, I'm leery of the over, but the talent on this roster and desperation could well kick in sooner rather than later. I think the schedule also may be a little more manageable in 25. What do you think, Marty?
This was the toughest one for me out of all the SEC teams, out of all of them. Because, you take a look, they do return a lot from a 4-loss campaign. quarterback situation. Don't know what you're going to get there. Open against Florida State, okay? I think you win that game.
You don't.
If you don't, wait, I think I'm signaling where I'm going with this one too.
All right. You win that game. You beat Wisconsin at home. You lose at Georgia. I don't see many other losses on that schedule. No. I really love the over on 9.5, and I think they surprise a lot of people this year. I think they go over 9.5. They return a lot. I like the defense, the O-line. Give me over 9.5, and that that was a tough one for me. But Ryan Williams, Heisman.
Enough said.
Over 9.5.
I say over 9.5. Florida State game. That's the one. I think they win at Florida State. Yeah. I think Florida State obviously won't be as god-awful as they were last year. And a lot went into that, obviously, what happened last year. But I don't know that Florida State is ready to beat Alabama, even at home, that first week of the season. I think it'll be a hell of a game. I think Alabama prevails. In a way, that's Alabama's 10th win. Alabama is national championship caliber if they beat Georgia, obviously in Georgia. For sure. We'll see. But I think their 10th win is not the 10th win. It's the first win of the season.
It's the front seven, right? It boils down to the front seven for me. How much havoc can that unit proceed to wreak on a week-in and week-out basis? I like the odds. I like the prospects there. So hitting double digits for me does seem like the right thing to do, the genuine thing to do for DeBoer, and maybe quieting at least a number of the critics there in Alabama. And I wouldn't necessarily say that elsewhere in the state, when you're talking about Georgia, that is, there are a lot of critics right now with reference to one Kirby Smart, not when you're talking about a team that has enjoyed as much success as any other unit in the land over the past 5 to 7 years. But last year, despite earning the number 2 seed in the CFP, despite knocking off Texas, twice, including in the SEC title game, a lot of the Bulldog fans, ladies and gentlemen, weren't exactly enthused with the way that season concluded. And now you talk about uncertainty at quarterback as well. Carson Beck, for all of the picks, all of the turnovers 1 year ago, you're still talking about somebody who over the course of 2 years on campus in Athens, guys, he threw for over 7,000 yards. And now he has proceeded to fly that coop. He is at the U, so you are welcoming aboard Gunnar Stockton. Looked nice in that second half, venturing into overtime. Different situation against your Irish. Also, this is a team in the trenches. Losing, you've heard this time and time again. You will hear this time and time again. 4 starting offensive linemen. All right?
Yep.
Skill position uncertainty, I'd say especially at the receiver position. You like bringing in a Zachariah Branch, a former 5-star recruit, a guy who did, though, underachieve to a degree, I would say, at USC. The defense is the defense. Still, a lot of guys obviously poached by the NFL. The Bulldogs had 13 different players picked just a couple of months ago. Just when I think, though, maybe there's going to be a drop-off, I look at the schedule again.
That's what
I
that's where I was going.
Enviable one by SEC standards. So the Bulldogs hovering around. If you're telling me the Bulldogs can't get to double digits this season, I'm saying you're flat out wrong. I do like the over of 9.5 there.
I think we all are going to.
I think we're all, because I saw the same thing. You look at the schedule, Athens. Who are they playing in these games? Their toughest games are at home. Right. Doesn't really say a lot. And like I say, I wasn't on the quarterback bandwagon at the beginning of the year last year. That played out as to why I think my under came in as far as Georgia was concerned at quarterback. Now, what they have this year is more of an unknown, obviously. But, man, it's just hard to not give them the 10 wins with the games that they have. What, if Alabama goes in there and beats them? Now, I'll tell you what, their season could go haywire. They lose at Knoxville, then Alabama comes in there and beats them.
Yeah.
Okay. Then all of a sudden, all these wins that
we're 2-2.
Yeah, you could stack up a lot. But once again, the what are we doing here talk starts at 2-2. But yeah, I got Georgia on the over. And but their late season game, I think, is tougher than anybody else's. Who they got?
Texas?
UNC Charlotte. Alabama's got Eastern Illinois. I was going to say, you need to get with your Illinois people over there, Marty. Get us some tickets, man, with the Eastern Illinois traveling.
Charleston, baby. Let's
go to Tusco.
Never been. Would love to.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah. Why not? Right, exactly. They probably, you want to go? We got a ticket for you. Now, I got Georgia over 10. I got Georgia at 10. Once again, right on 10. Right on 10. And we always say that Vegas knows what they're talking about. See how many of these are this one game swing. Georgia's another one. But I do have Georgia at the over because I got Georgia at 10.
This is one of those teams, and there's a reason it's 9.5. And you mentioned everything they lost. They do replace them. They're littered with 5 and 4 stars that are coming in. But I think this is going to be a campaign where it's feast or famine. I think this is a 10 or 11 win team. Or this is a team that wins 5 or 6 games.
Well, maybe more than 5 or 6, but okay. Georgia Tech
8-4.
It's supposed to be going to be pretty good.
Well, how did that work out last year?
That's what I'm saying.
Push to the brink.
Right, push to the brink. So that's one where, you're 3/4 of the way through the season. You got this Georgia Tech game, and Georgia Tech's pretty good. And Georgia Tech was pissed, there's some referee stuff and all that at the end of the game and carrying on, So that's one that if things are going poorly and then they lose to Georgia Tech, that does push them down into that. Ooh, not only did you not make 10, you only won 8. Mm-hmm. I could see that, Marty. I really could.
So, but I at the end of the day, it's Georgia. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to take a step back. And I love the quarterback situation. Love the defense, even though they lost a ton. I got to go over 9.5 in this one. I'm not extremely confident with that over 9.5, okay?
Same.
But if I'm, making bets, I'm going to go over 9.5 in this one. And I do think they win at Knoxville in week 3 because, Tennessee has never done it for me. Never done it for me.
I am not as over the moon for UGA heading into this season, but I am with you guys insofar as hitting that 10 spot with relative ease. Again, relative to SEC expectations. And while Georgia may not know exactly what it's going to get at signal caller out of Gunnar Stockton over the course of an entire regular season, Oklahoma feels otherwise. This was the worst kept secret, guys, going into portal number 1. The seeds were planted back on last December the 2nd. That is when Oklahoma managed to woo one Ben Arbuckle from Washington State to become its new offensive coordinator. And wouldn't you know it, shortly thereafter, John Mateer commits. So last season, so much of the blame for Oklahoma's immense offensive struggles, it went to Jackson Arnold. Some of it was fair. Some of it was, I think, definitely justifiable. I saw him firsthand. Didn't look good in mid-Missouri, okay? But the offensive line was in a shambles. You had injuries left and right. At one point in time, Alvin, 5 of the top wide receivers on this program, they were down at the same time.
6, because one came back, but they were like on their 7th string receiver.
It was insane.
And I've heard them talk down there. They said, like, it was insane. It was like, no, seriously. Our receivers for a good part of the middle of the season were our number 8, 9, and 10 on the depth chart, which included guys who basically didn't play receiver.
Yeah.
Now, that's who you're trotting out there playing an SEC schedule. And God bless Missouri, but fluky fumbles and craziness, and, Oklahoma did everything but win that game.
Drew Pine got the job done.
You were there on that.
Yeah, he did.
What is it, snowing or was it freezing? Or
anything and everything.
Everything that game. So, not taking anything away from that win that Missouri got. Wins a win. But, Oklahoma was trying to find ways to win football games. Made a bowl game. Oklahoma could be 3-2. Oklahoma could be 5-0.
5-0 is what I'm going with.
Okay, I was gonna say that. Like,
look at it, 5-0.
When you look at it, you say, like, man, you figure out a way to beat Auburn at home. Man, you might be 5-0.
I just question, though, the meteoric rise that is being envisioned by so many people out there. I'm not taking anything away from Mateer at QB, okay? He has incredible talent. He has the ability to also take it down and run, which I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand. But this is a different level, a different caliber of competition. It is a step up. And last season, in the limited action that he actually saw against upper-level teams, he didn't wow you, okay? Yeah, did he actually account for an FBS leading 44 touchdowns overall? Absolutely. But by the same token, I know that he is definitely a practitioner there of the air raid offense that Venables and Arbuckle want to implement. But I caution people here from actually making that leap too quickly, okay? Deion Burks, he's coming back. You have a nice addition via the transfer portal in Jaden Ott from Cal as well. I think that is your home run hitter to maybe pair with the Javante and have a good tandem in the backfield. The defense last season, when you actually view it in retrospect, it was that much more exceptional because of how often, how regularly it was out there on the field, left to be out on the field, considering this offense was 119th in passing yardage per game. This offensive line went through 10 different combinations during the campaign. And yet, the excuses at some point start to basically run their course because this is year number 4 for Brent Venables at Oklahoma. 6-7 year one, 10-win season, final basically voyage in the Big 12, moving to the SEC. I don't care at some juncture if you were absolutely decimated by injuries. 2-6 in conference play isn't going to cut it. You're going to need a substantial leap up in competition. I just don't know if I'm willing to, Marty, with all due respect, pull a Phil Steele and say OU could be in contention for the CFP. That's the talk at 8.5.
No, I think that's a little dramatic. I think you mentioned it. Oklahoma has to run the football. Regardless of the receiver situation and all that, they have to run the football. And you got a quarterback, I think, is multidimensional. At the same time, you got to pick up some yards. You can't pass 55 times a game. I mean, that just ain't going to cut it in the SEC as the season wears along. You're going to get injured. Your line's going to get banged up. A lot's going to go on. You have to run the football. I don't know that Oklahoma is – I'm not ready to say that they can do that yet. But with that being said, I got to take them. I got to take them to the over only because they have a chance to go 5-0 at the beginning.
True.
And then, look, there'll be a stretch.
Then things get rocky.
Right. Then things get rocky. They almost better be, because they're going to go through a stretch later in the season where they might lose 3 straight football games and everybody be diving overboard saying, like, I told you that we were awful and all that.
It's not worse than last season. Last season was about as tough. It literally was the toughest schedule.
Yes, it
according
was.
to many
It was. And like I say, Oklahoma's a little different, but boy, I can't bring them home at 7, so I got to give them 8. I got to take them to the over. I mean, they beat Michigan at home, don't they?
Yes.
All right, that's one.
I'll even give him Auburn at home.
No,
Week
but that's
two,
the one.
Week 2, Michigan.
Right.
Yeah, a Michigan team that's going to be down, in my opinion.
Right. So you beat Michigan at home. You beat Auburn at home. You figure out a way to win 3 more games the rest of the way. I got to take them to the over.
This is the one that I'm most confident about in all the SEC teams.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to get real excited. They start off 5-0 or 4-1, and that's very doable. One of those two is going to happen: 4-0 or 5-0 or 4-1.
Right.
But then you're not beating Texas. You lose at a really good South Carolina team. Okay.
Yep.
Love that squad.
You lose at home to a good Ole Miss team, I think.
No, that's the one where I think they could win that game. Now, but we'll talk about Ole Miss obviously in just a little bit here.
You lose at Alabama.
Klonka, they always like, come on, man, Lane Kiffin, I like you. I know everybody hates you, but I kind of like you. Alvin kind of likes you, but you always have that Klonka. We'll come back to that. So anyway, that's
under 8.5 is my lock.
You're under
for the conference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
We got 7, you think, or just complete?
Not even.
All right, you sound like complete discombobulation.
Yeah, we're talking 5 or 6.
All right.
Putting that bow on OU, I am just not as mesmerized by the makeup of this roster, by the potential there, as considerable as it could be for John Mateer. Yes, I understand that he spent a couple of years riding behind Cam Ward, that he's been basically just chomping at this bit to be able to get this job and take this program, elevate it to different heights. But this number has fluctuated wildly as well. I was looking about a month or so, guys, and so many different publications were placing it at 6.5, maybe even 7.5. I would feel more confident in that terrain. 8.5, not so much. I will actually go under here. I will go under 8.5 for the Sooners. So I am pessimistic on that program to a degree. And the same sort of distinction for me, guys, is going to follow, yes, the boys there in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was the very first season preview, team preview, that I did on the 101 ESPN YouTube channel.
Great
and
job, by the way.
101ESPN.com. Thank you, buddy.
Agreed.
Tennessee, though, hey, the Vols right now, shaky ground, I believe, in more respects than one. We all know about the Nico Iamaleava saga by now. Basically, Tennessee trades Iamaleava for Aguilar from UCLA.
For cash.
And this is
for cash.
considerations. This day and age. We love it, do we? In any event, you're talking about a program that has a very, very stout defense in place once again. James Pierce, he heads to the NFL. He was a combine freak, but I love what you still have athletically at the edge, that second level and secondary too, even though there are a couple of injury concerns early in the campaign. But quite frankly, guys, I don't know how this team consistently, regardless of who ends up taking the most snaps at quarterback, I don't know how this squad, even with Josh Heupel being the mastermind there, is going to consistently move the football and move the chains against its caliber of competition. Dylan Sampson, to me last season, a year ago, he was the engine for this offense, okay? In the first half of the season, Nico put up his numbers against subpar competition. They were ridiculous, astronomical figures in statistics. But when push came to shove, Dylan Sampson was the crux of this offense. He is gone. I don't think you can replicate that production in the backfield. Wide receiver is another matter entirely. You don't have a Squirrel White anymore. You don't have a lot of those different contributors too. I don't like Tennessee whatsoever heading into this campaign. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why this is listed by the coaches even as a top 25 team. Yeah. Tell me why.
I don't know why, because I'm taking Syracuse in the points in Atlanta week 1.
There it is.
I
didn't expect to hear that.
I didn't say it now. I ain't saying it like money line, but it'll be some outrageous figure. Syracuse can score points. What's Tennessee got going on? Really? We don't know. We'll see. Maybe, prove me wrong, Tennessee. From there, look, man, Georgia's beating you. Do you beat Mississippi State at Starksville? You better, because they
don't.
That's the worst team in college
right.
football.
I was just going to say they're god-awful.
If
they lose that one, Kentucky at Lexington. I got them. I got 8. I got them at 8. I'm under. I got the Vols at under.
I got them at 7 or 8. I have them. I have them under as well. It's just there's too many games on here that are coin flips because you already got 3 losses. That's Georgia, that's at Alabama, and that's at Gainesville, a team we haven't gotten to yet. That's damn good.
I see the same thing you do.
And then are you going to beat all those other teams? Hell, I don't know. I'll take my chances with you losing one of those games.
I just said I can't take Tennessee. I cannot take Tennessee to 9 wins.
No.
What year is he? No, neither can I. Go with the under. What year is he there? I'm sorry, I can't remember. Heupel?
Oh, as far as Heupel, he's been there for more than a handful of years now. Yeah,
this will be 6.
Yeah, he's entrenched.
Right. They were breathing on before. They would have made the college football playoff 3 years ago if there was a college football playoff. I think they're still living off that season.
Yeah,
and I think everybody was looking at them last year like they were that team. And then you watched them play. I mean, Oklahoma State almost beat them or whatever. If I remember correctly.
That was a bad football team.
Man, that was a bad football team.
You know better than us.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So,
no sale.
No sale. I'm with you on that one.
Coach Banks, you'd better coach them up accordingly on defense. I still don't think it's going to matter, though, in the grand scheme of things because the schedule even this, guys, Marty, you alluded to it a little bit, gets even tougher. And for those who actually think that September the 13th against Georgia is going to be a big game, Neyland Stadium or not, I believe that's a comical prospect because the last 4 times those teams have met even at Tennessee, Heupel has never competed against smart
Blowout City.
24-point difference in each and every game.
Right.
So from one team that is, not on my end, not on any of these guys' ends, actually projected to go lower than the 8.5 figure to another that is very, very enticing. And I'm talking about Ole Miss. Let's head to Oxford. The Lane Train, baby.
Lane Train.
Last season for all of the heroics, courtesy of one Jackson Dart, and it was a heck of a fun team, heck of a fun offense to monitor on a weekly basis. Did you guys know that last year, number 2 overall in FBS scoring defense, that is not something that is attached, that is associated with Ole Miss, okay? You're thinking of running and gunning. You're thinking of putting up those points in excess on the scoreboard, and yet a lot of those same pieces are in place once more for 2025. And Marty, I think that's going to be instrumental because you are going to experience some sort of a drop-off, at least early, at the quarterback position. We don't exactly know what you're going to see right away from an Austin Simmons. Is he highly regarded? Yeah, but this is somebody who, if I'm not mistaken, is barely touching age 20, had just a cup of coffee in relief of Dart last season. So you don't necessarily get some of the high-octane offensive performances early, but schedule, it is what it is. Decent by SEC standards. There's still so much talent returning, and this is a team that is determined and was this close to actually reaching that CFP just 1 year ago.
Yeah, I can't get on board with Ole Miss this year. I just cannot. I take a look at the schedule. I see 3 or 4 losses, games that they're not going to win. They lost a lot, okay?
Yeah.
They did lose a lot. And I think there's significant drop-off at the QB position. They're going to lose to LSU. They're going to lose at Athens. I think they lose to Florida. And you're already there. It's 8.5's the over/under. It's kind of like, the last team we talked about. Out of all the other games, can you win one more of those or can you lose one? Yeah, I think you can lose one more of those. I got under 8.5 in this one.
I'm over. I'm gonna give my man his just due here. I do think that Kentucky and Lexington, that's their swing game. They go there and they win that game. They're beating LSU in Oxford. I'm sorry. That to me, they win that football game.
At home.
Now, they're at home. Now, I talked about clunkers. All right, man, you play Oklahoma, you figure out a way to win that game. I got them on the over. I do. I think Mississippi's going to win 10 football games. So I don't think 9 is a winner for the over. I think they'll win 10 games. I think Lane Kiffin is a good football coach. I think you can say, he is a guy that I think you give me yours and you take mine, and I could still figure out a way to compete with you. So I got them at the over. They just got to avoid a bad one, just a bad one, like losing to Mississippi State again or something like that.
I think a big storyline to follow here, and you just mentioned LSU going forward this season, is I'm extremely high on LSU, and Alvin is not high at all on LSU.
That's
so,
it.
folks, stay tuned on that one.
Stay tuned.
Keep it in perspective.
Right.
I'm with you. I'm with you, buddy. 8.5. The uncertainty at the quarterback position. I haven't seen enough from Simmons yet. I haven't seen enough to indicate to me that this team can push beyond that 8.5 threshold. So I will somewhat begrudgingly go lower for Lane Kiffin and company in 2025.
I'm with you, Lane.
But rest assured, this is somebody, our next spotlighted individual from whom I have seen plenty, and I am ready to take this young man and absolutely elevate him onto such a platform you won't believe it. Because let's go to the other Columbia at first. Let's go to Williams-Brice Stadium. Let's go to the ballpark and the confines that are going to be regularly enjoyed by Lenoris, Sellers, and company. Yeah, guys, I know there were games last season. It was a roller coaster. I know that the interceptions were there, and yet, by the same token, for instance, let's take into account that Missouri game. Yes, I will revisit that ridiculous sequence. That set of circumstances in the fourth quarter, headed in the bag, gave it away. But Sellers helped engineer so much of that magic, and he engineered so much after a 3-3 start for this program. A year ago, guys, Shane Beamer, and I'm still not saying he's off of the hook, but boy, he was facing a lot more pressure before he gave those keys to the offense to Lenore Sellers. And there was a lot of talk, there was a lot of conjecture during the offseason as well. Were other programs pursuing Lenore Sellers? His dad says, no, he's turning down whatever. He's staying in South Carolina. He's going to be the guy. I don't know if I am more excited about watching a player in the entire conference as much as I am when it comes to Lenore Sellers. And I am fully aware of the fact that you have to replace the different elements in the backfield, a lot of your receivers as well. Heck, the defense has holes. But if I am basically hedging my bets or staking a claim to a guy in whom I feel the most confident from a playmaking standpoint among all of these interstellar young quarterbacks, it's Lenore Sellers, because he can singularly transform a game like nobody else I've seen in that league.
Kids today don't get out there and just play football anymore on the sandlot or, like I say, the playground or wherever, like we did. At least I'm old enough to remember it. That's what that South Carolina-Missouri game looked like. And you're thinking, this dude is just, they're hiking him the ball, and he's telling people to go out. If you're open, I'll throw you the ball. If not, I'll run the ball.
Make it happen.
He made it happen. And how they made it happen on that last drive, I'll never on earth understand what happened there exactly. I'm sorry. Gamecocks, you lose at Columbia. You're not getting there. Nope. I think it's all on this kid. I think it's too much. I don't want to say you look back and say, man, I should have gone and I took that money, went to Notre Dame, went somewhere that wanted me. I don't see it. I got South Carolina at the under this year. I was not too impressed with them last year. I know they put together some wins that got them to a bowl game, etc. But I'm just not sold on South Carolina. I don't. I think the conference is one that is difficult on South Carolina. I don't know what it is, but I haven't been impressed with them the last 2 or 3 years. And last year, like I said, it was just one guy running around. I got him at 7. I got him an under. I got them at an under.
Bowl game performance, that letdown versus Illinois, color your opinion in any way?
Well, I understand that you never know who's playing, and you never know who wants to play, even though they're there. It's a little different now. And so short of just getting blown out of the stadium, that's one thing. But even if you do, so what? So I won't say that tainted it. I think, if I remember correctly, I thought Illinois would win that game, and Illinois did win that game because Illinois had a lot more want in them to win after the season that they had. Right. So I got South Carolina on the under, and I have South Carolina losing at Missouri, which could be a big mistake.
You have 7.5 for South Carolina, right, Marty? 7.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm way over on this one. Sellers, I think he's going to have a fantastic campaign. The secondary on this team is one of the better ones in the country. I love the secondary. I think that's going to win them a few games. And take a look at their schedule. They're going to start off 5-0, I think. And then you go to LSU. You'll lose LSU. You lose Alabama. And then you'll probably lose Ole Miss and Clemson, but that still has you at 8-4. So I love the over on this team.
Potential swing game, you're talking about Texas A&M on the road as you get later into October, November, but you have Oklahoma at home. You have manageable situations here, manageable contests, although I don't think the expectations necessarily are manageable for Sellers. We'll see how he's able to navigate all of those. I have the utmost confidence actually in him. Maybe it's misplaced to a degree, but I really like South Carolina. You were talking about Oklahoma basically being the lock for you, Marty, one team to go over or under. For me, it's South Carolina over 7.5 because I look at this league, I think it's such a meager total to actually surpass. I will go with the Gamecocks with confidence. And speaking of confidence, why not just shift from one Columbia to the next?
Oh boy,
that's right.
That's the way to go because that's the game that we're going to talk about between these two teams.
You're darn right. Week number 4, week number 5 nationally. We'll get to that in a little while here on the College Football Connection. 101 ESPN, the YouTube channel, and 101ESPN.com. But my goodness gracious, when you're talking about that rematch, whether you're talking about the rematch in week number 4 between Mizzou and South Carolina, I would contend, though, that Mizzou has perhaps an unlikely test, a more formidable assignment earlier in the campaign than that. But if you guys are referring to the most manageable schedule in the entire conference, I don't know how you were unable to hand it to the University of Missouri. To wit, 12 games overall. 8 of those are at home. An unprecedented 6 in a row to start the campaign. Yes, you have KU in week 2. Alvin, we talked about it last week. Yes, you have Lenore Sellers and company. You're welcoming the Gamecocks in week number 4. And then it does get a little more arduous after that. But for a program that is chasing what would be an unprecedented, we'll use that word again because it's true, 3rd straight 10-win season, it is in the cards for me.
No way.
And we talked about it a bit before the program began, before we got the stream started. I think that it is a bit, more than a bit, of a farce that this team in the coaches poll, we'll see what the AP brings next Monday on the 11th, August the 11th. I think it's ridiculous that this team is not in the top 25 to begin the season, that this team is ranked 12th, to be frank, among all SEC schools in the preseason media days poll, because I'm looking at the defense principally. I know that at this point in time, you don't exactly know to whom you're giving the ball at quarterback. Maybe it's Perbula, maybe it's Ford, maybe it's both to begin the season, which I think, frankly, is going to happen.
Yes.
But aside from losing a mammoth piece in Johnny Walker Jr., he was great for you on the edge. He took the place of Darius Robinson, and he took that baton with aplomb. This defense, guys, is ferocious. It is fierce. There is clearly a reason as to why you just handed the coordinator, Corey Batoon, an extension a few days ago, and you expect him to basically lead the way for this team because as many stumbling blocks as you could have early in 2025. I'm not saying this offense is going to be in sync for the first few weeks of the season. The defense is great enough, not good enough, great enough to be able to carry you for sustained stretches and flip that field position. All of the experience, all the veterans at both the second level with Newsom coming back and in the secondary too. One, you're going to get growth from the guys who are returning. A Toriano Pride, hometown kid coming over from Clemson. Year 2 is going to be markedly better for him. And then you basically augment that. You add an accent piece like a Jalen Catalon, for crying out loud, with so much college football experience, a Trotter coming in from West Virginia too at linebacker. They have strength in numbers, literally and figuratively. This is a top 3 defense, I'm telling you, in the entire conference. And how is that going to play when the conditions basically get that much worse in October and November? Everything is on the table for this team to once again make a run. It didn't work out last season, but I'm serious. Not just make a run in the conference, make a run for a would-be CFP berth. No joke.
I couldn't.
6.5?
I couldn't disagree with you more.
Please.
I love you, my friend.
Let's go.
I could not disagree with you more.
Let's go.
You know, there's a reason 6.5 is the over/under.
Tell me. I can't figure it out. It's inexplicable. Give it to me.
Just real quick, and I don't mean to cut you off, but
you're
here's
good.
my thought. Somebody knows something that I don't know, and sometimes that is a real thing. Go ahead, man.
Yeah,
that's all I can say on this. Before
I mean, I'm telling you right now, I think Kansas can beat them.
I think Kansas can beat them. I don't know that Kansas will beat them.
Give them a game early. Give them a game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Mizzou.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Sellers, we just talked about. You lose to South Carolina at home. Okay? You lose at Alabama. You lose at Auburn. A&M beat you. At Norman. I mean, this team's got – I'll go over 6.5, but barely. I see a 7-5 campaign. I'm sorry, Bradford.
Okay, now this is what I got. Never mind. Let's do math here. They got all these home games, and then your road games are Auburn, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Arkansas.
We'll get to Auburn, but what have those Tigers done under Hugh Freeze? I'm sorry, I digress.
No, but I'm just saying that those are your 4 road games. So
Thank you very much.
You gotta play the over on Missouri. That's just it's almost like it doesn't matter who they play in those other games technically, because they're 4 road games. You figure like, man, they gotta at least go 3-1, you know, and even they went 2-2 with the teams that you should beat, which includes Kansas. They gotta win 7 games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I'm saying is like, look, I'm on this gigantic Mizzou national championship aspirations, but they got to win 7 games, don't they? And if they don't, pox on their house. I mean, what is going on down there? Oh, by the way, not a hot seat, a question mark seat. If they don't
do it.
Come on now.
No.
If they go 7-5.
I'm saying they pull a Marty, go 7-5.
Are you serious? He just got a contract.
Yeah, but
I ain't saying they're going to fire him. I'm just saying, like, what's going on? Hey, wait a minute, hold it.
No, you mentioned it, question mark.
Yeah, question mark.
Okay.
That's all. Like,
I'm glad you brought that up.
All right.
Not to get overly confrontational here. I'm glad you brought that up because I think the primary reason, guys, as to why the Tigers aren't exactly held in the same sort of esteem as some of the upper-level teams or teams that, frankly, haven't even approached 10-win territory, in each of the past 2 seasons, it is due to Eli Drinkwitz. He is viewed, in my estimation, as a bit of, maybe pariah wouldn't be the right word, but not exactly the most legitimate as far as being able to finish out games and carry a team across the finish line. I think that his still unorthodox, unconventional approach, it doesn't really align with or adhere to SEC stuffy expectations. You see him, you hear him out at media days. He's a little goofy, all right? He's out there. He's not exactly your company man.
What, 2 coaches said, like, the SEC is high, trying to, like, just dominate in these automatic places in the CFP, Lane Kiffin, Drinkwitz. Mm-hmm. And you look at it and you say, like, man, these other coaches say, like, look, the one thing that we do in the SEC is we are company line people, all right? And he busted that. So I'll give him credit. But at the same time, they're looking at him like, we got to put him in his place. Mm-hmm. I don't know that happens.
No.
This year, because he's got all these home games. So, but yeah, they got to win 7 games. They got to win 7.
You know what's funny?
They better win 7 games.
This is funny to me as well. Everybody who's out there waiting for the luck to run out, for the pixie dust to expire. This team has gone 10-1 over the course of the past 2 campaigns in 1-score games. All right, so what are you supposed to apologize for having legitimately great decision-making at quarterback? Yeah, Brady Cook is gone now. We understand that. Are you supposed to apologize for leaning on your defense and then actually utilizing the special teams in the waning seconds? No, these are all hallmarks of legitimately good to great programs, and it's how you win games, especially later in the schedule in the SEC. The only difference here this season, and it's a big one at that, is figuring out to whom most of the reps, the bulk of the reps down the stretch will go at quarterback. Otherwise, your running game is going to be markedly better, okay? I get that Armand Mimbu, number 7 overall picks in the NFL draft, they don't grow on trees. You still have questions at left tackle, even left guard, Caden Green. He's a preseason All-American. Will he live up to the hype? From ULM, Ahmad Hardy is one of the best additions via the portal, period. He is going to be in that mold of Cody Schrader from a couple of seasons ago. You lose Luther Burden III, you lose Theo Weiss, incredibly valuable members of Kirby Moore's offense. Kevin Coleman, remember the name, from Mississippi State. He was great, period. And just an influx of exciting, talented sophomores and incoming freshmen. I'm not going to apologize for this. Mizzou is going to sniff double digits, go well beyond 6.5, and sniff double digits. Point blank, period.
Wow.
Full stop.
All right.
Full stop.
I ain't too excited about the quarterback.
8-9, they ain't
situation.
gonna win 10 games. But
Are you excited, though, about the quarterback in Tallahassee? Because a lot of people are when it comes to the Florida Gators and DJ Lagway. Yes, there's so much hype and anticipation for Lenore Sellers. Even Mr. Reid, Kyle Field, Texas A&M. A lot of people feel, Marty, as if Florida is going to travel as far as Lagway is able to take the Gators in 2025. And give Billy Napier, I'm serious, a little bit of credit for the tail end of last season. Speaking of brutal, absolutely grueling, brutal schedules, Florida has had one for the past few seasons. And you were able to navigate that. And yeah, you're a few years into your tenure there in Gainesville, and you're still hovering around the 500 mark. But this year, more than any other, I'd say, over the last 3 to 4, I have more confidence in those Gators. I don't know if I'm hitting the over here. I'm going to keep you in suspense. But I do like this team heading into the fall.
Well, they bring back a ton.
a ton of what, though?
Oh, Alvin.
8-win team.
All right, okay.
8-win team. They
8-win
bring
team.
back a ton.
Yeah.
There's a reason they're so highly ranked, right now. They bring back a lot. You got a great quarterback. The only problem with this situation, and it's reflected in the over-under at 7.5, is that schedule.
Yes.
I mean, that schedule is brutal, okay? You go to Baton Rouge. That's a loss. You lose at Miami. You host Texas. That's 3 losses already, so you're starting off, 3-3. Who knows what happens at Kyle Field? You host Georgia. That's a loss. You probably lose at Oxford. I mean, this is tough stuff here. I think this is a good team, and this is going to go either way. That's going to be 7 or 8 wins. I know it is, but the schedule is too difficult. I'm going under 7.5.
I'll tell you what. I don't know what Miami will be this year without Cam Ward, but you got Beck down there now. I think Miami is going to be a pretty good football team. So that game is it has nothing to do with the SEC, but you play it in late September, and that's the one that could put Florida at 2-2. Mm-hmm. So Florida's now 2-2, all right? And Texas comes to town. This is weird. This is bizarre. This is college football. Florida's 3-1. Florida's fools around and is 4-0, and Texas comes to town, and Texas will beat them, okay? Florida's 2-2, and they ready to fire the dude a month into the season. They beat Texas. I just think the desperation period will come at that point. Florida, when you look at them and you say oh man, Florida's 7.5. Do I see 8 wins on this schedule? I don't. I'm with you,
Yeah.
but that's where it'll be the crazy part. Man, we were 3-2 after 5 games, and we beat Texas. All right, and then where it goes after that, but I got to go with an under on this one. That schedule is hard, and Florida State's not fooling around this year, and I got to go with I got to go with the under on Florida.
According to the coaches poll, the Gators are going to encounter 6 teams ranked nationally in the first preliminary preseason poll.
Yeah.
I will bank here. I will roll the dice and say Lagway stays healthy for the majority of the campaign, and that this team under Napier, yes, is able to finish or at least really execute the better part of its season ahead in the same way that we saw the conclusion of 2024. So I will go over for the U of F here.
I think if we can give our listeners and viewers any advice, it would maybe be to stay away from this one.
Well, that would be one that and there's several kind of like on here. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I love that we do them all, especially on the games we do. But there are some where, like, say, like, Alvin, what Florida's going to do, it really is, if I had to put something down, I'm going with the under. But I'm with you, Marty. They're like, I don't know what Florida's going to do. Because Florida's the opposite of Missouri. Florida's just like, man, your schedule is such that I'm having trouble finding wins, whereas with Missouri's, I'm having trouble finding losses.
No, I think that's a great point.
Right.
And from one dicey program potentially to another, let's talk about a team. Let's talk about the resonance there of Kyle Field. Let's go to College Station, because last year, whereas Florida basically started in a tenuous state and finished with a flurry, the opposite was true for Texas A&M. I don't want to revisit the Missouri game too much, but the fact of the matter is that Texas A&M, with Mike Elko now at the helm, year number 1, started 7-1.
Yep.
Only finished 8-5. There was a lot of hullabaloo about the midseason-ish quarterback change, going to Marcel Reid. Goodbye, Connor. Hello, Mr. Reid. And by the same token, this team, for me, Alvin, somewhat consistently at least, was unable to really do a lot on the ground. You had a lot of defensive parts, but I don't know if the sum there ever lived up to the expectations that would befit a Texas A&M defense being able to get through the weekly grind of the SEC. And I am in between here, guys. I'm in limbo as to really go over whether I should go over on the victory total this season. I think that some things were figured out with respect to Mr. Reid down the stretch, and I don't know if he single-handedly carries his program a la what I think Sellers is going to do for the Gamecocks.
9 wins, could be 10. They play Texas last game of the year.
Okay.
All right, who knows how that one goes?
Wow.
Okay, grudge match, obviously. Big rivalry. Game's at College Station, I do believe. No, it's in Austin, but let's say Texas is undefeated. You played Texas A&M last game of the year. You boys, how much would that ticket cost? I'm going with Texas A&M on the over on this one. I liked Texas A&M last year. They, like I said, front half, that game against Notre Dame, I think we're Notre Dame, even though they lost to Illinois the very next week, I think Notre Dame kind of told us that we're a tough football team, because that was a tough first game down there that heated College Station. Notre Dame won it. So it proved a little something to me. But I like Texas A&M this year. I like how they play football. I like that they're in the SEC playing tough teams week in and week out. I think they're good early. I think maybe they sustain it a little bit better late. One of the ones I'm more confident in is the Texas A&M over this year at 7.5. I'm sure they get to 8. I definitely see them at 9. They could possibly win 10 football games. I got Texas A&M on the over. That includes a game at Columbia against Missouri, and by the time they play that game, I think Texas A&M is a better football team than Missouri is. By the time they actually play that game a little bit later in the season, that initial rush of home games is over for Missouri. I like Texas A&M in that game as well.
I literally agree with everything you just said. I'm on them this year. I think it's one of the bigger surprises nationally this year, their win total. I like what they've brought back. I think 7.5 is way too low of an over-under. I like their schedule. As a Notre Dame fan, I'm damn worried about that Week 3 game again when they come to South Bend. They could easily beat Notre Dame. I really like them over 7.5. 8, bare minimum 8-14 in my opinion.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And I think that game at Notre Dame, that will be the game that tells us if Notre Dame's got their offense together.
Yeah.
I think if Notre Dame scores points, they win that game. Okay, I think it'll be a defensive battle again, but I just said, if Notre Dame has really got some offense, I think they win that game. I won't say going away, but that'll be a telltale game because Texas A&M remembers the game from last year, and Texas A&M remembers the fact that, man, Notre Dame played in the national championship game. Wow.
We should have beat them.
We should have beat them, right, week 1, and you know how that is. Man, we played in the first week of September, and here we are in January, and we're talking about, man, we should have beat them. They'll take that attitude to South Bend.
Yeah, I'm worried about that one.
Yeah.
7.5 is very appealing to me. So that's going to wash aside some of the concerns, the inherent concerns that I do have. And I will go for 8. I'm not willing to sniff 9, maybe even 10, but I'll go 8. I will say this, however, you'd better clean up that run D because I don't exactly know if it improves immensely, but last year when you're getting gouged for 5.5 yards per rush in the SEC, there's no wonder that basically the wheels fell off in the second half.
Well, wasn't every
of the
team
schedule.
in the SEC didn't like pretty much every team averaged like 4.5 yards a carry?
The team was downright bad.
Okay, all right.
Bad at run prevention. Bad in
On
run.
another level.
Bad.
On another level.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay, I hear what you're saying. But, man, it's as the years have gone by, I've realized, like, man, like no team averages like 3.1 yards a carry. There's just something about it. Like, hey, look, as long as you don't beat the hell out of us throwing the football, if we can hold you under like that 4.4 yard a carry, we'll be in the game. So I'm not looking at that number as the downfall for Texas A&M, but I hear what you're saying. They gave up too many yards on the ground.
He makes a good point.
Yeah.
You know who else is trying to make a point in the Plains, guys? And he'd better, entering year number 3 on the job, it would be Hugh Freeze of those Auburn Tigers. We referenced Jackson Arnold earlier in the program. Didn't work out, to say the least, in Norman. What will happen at Auburn? So the once much ballyhooed recruit obviously now is going to be orchestrating that offense. And Marty, when I look at the core cast here, there's no denying that Hugh Freeze has assembled so much talent through the portal. That's where he has really made his hay to this point. And the recruiting classes, he stated when he accepted the job, he would need at least 3 or 4 complete cycles. We are encroaching upon that territory. I still have severe questions when it comes to the defense, with the exception of Keldrick Falk. He is the main man there.
Yeah.
You're losing Hunter in the backfield. Arnold didn't exactly inspire a ton of conference last season. Now, he was gun-shy for justifiable reasons down the stretch. What is he going to be able to do in year 1? Does Auburn maybe eclipse that figure of 7.5? I still think that's a fairly on the high side.
I think it's on the low side.
Oh,
Yeah.
You surprised me, Marty, on that one.
talk to us.
Well, I mean, they bring back a great offensive line, okay? They did lose a lot, in terms of the entire roster. But here's another thing. You look at their schedule. That's why that number is there. I mean, they have a win. Ball State, South Alabama, at Baylor, Missouri they beat, Arkansas, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mercer. I think this team gets an 8-4, maybe 9-3.
See, I think that week number 1 tilt
Me
against
too.
Baylor in
Thank
Waco,
you.
that's tough, right?
Thank you.
Off the bat.
You freeze in the frying pan after week 1. If I'm you freeze agent, I ain't gonna lie to you. We're already having a discussion. Do you want to coach in 2026, or would you rather just collect the checks from Auburn and not do nothing? Because you ain't gonna have no job after this year. I'm sorry. I got Auburn on the under. I got Auburn losing to Baylor. I got it going all kind of sideways down there. I'm not an Auburn believer. I thought they looked bad last year. I think they'll look bad this year. I think you freeze.
He gone.
He gone.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All
Nope. That he might not make the season. He really might not.
There was not a team in the SEC, okay, maybe Mississippi State, that honestly and consistently, perpetually committed more self-inflicted wounds from week to week than Auburn. Penalties galore, mental mistakes. They were in games left and right, but you also have to put that on the coaching.
Yeah, on the coach.
coaching.
And horrible fourth quarter quarterback play. I mean, you talk about, wait a minute, what's Auburn going to do? They're going to fumble, and they're going to throw an interception, and they're going to lose. And it's all going to happen in the last 15 minutes of the game. And you're almost looking at the coach and like, hey, you know what? You should have just ran the ball and asked the defense, please, stop them. Stop them. That's all we can do. Because if we throw the ball, it's going to get intercepted. And I mean, pick sixes, blowing games, coaching staff. No, I'm not a believer in them. And there's no way they get to 8 wins. 0.
To your point, as much as people in Columbia, rightfully so, want to herald the Brady Cook Hospital game, Auburn gift-wrapped the victory to you in the second half.
In the second half. That was a game where that was the one where he said, like, man, all you had to do was just run the football. Mm-hmm. You just ran the clock out.
Do it, Thorne. Do it.
Yeah, that dude would have came back from the hospital and there'd been 1 minute left in the game. So like, oh, yeah, if you can throw 2 touchdown passes in a minute, yeah, there you go. And Auburn's 3 and out and running crazy plays. It's just, yes. Now, I'm not a believer.
No sale. Not a believer.
No sale on Auburn. No. And when as I was initially going through kind of your initial over and unders and whatnot, I'm thinking like, man, I'm a little lopsided on the over. Where are these wins coming from? Well, they're coming from the bad teams, but also Auburn.
That's
You're
right.
going to throw some coin on that.
And I'm like, oh no, I don't see Auburn getting to 8. And the one is be like, oh man, I think Auburn will be favored against Baylor, and I'm looking straight money line on that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man, down there in that heat. Come on.
Needless to say, way under for this guy as it pertains to the Tigers from Auburn. We're talking about believers, whether we are buying stock in some of these middle rung to lower tier programs as we race through a few more on the College Football Connection. SEC Preview Spectacular on our YouTube channel as well as 101ESPN.com. Are you gentlemen a believer to somewhat of a greater degree in one Sam Pittman down in Fayetteville, or hey, Bobby Petrino still hanging out? You're number 2 running that offensive game. I'm going to be honest. There are a lot of sure things in this conference. I really believe that when it comes to QB, okay, and offenses. I'm not riding with Mr. Green. Now, I appreciate what Petrino can do as an offensive mind, but I'm evaluating the talent here. I'm evaluating the way in which Arkansas didn't exactly hit it big in the transfer portal. I don't see a team that is coming close to sniffing 500 this year, guys. I think this is firmly in that bottom 3-4 pack of the SEC. And Mr. Pittman, maybe he avoided the inevitable for one more season. I don't think that he is entrenched there in the great state of Arkansas beyond 2025.
They might lose to Memphis. I mean, they could.
Oh, boy.
Put it this way.
Wouldn't be shocked.
Put it this way. I got them on the under. I got Arkansas 4 wins and 5 at most. So, I don't see them winning 6 football games.
Yeah.
If they do, it'll be because they beat Missouri the last game of the year.
Don't you dare.
And
I'm
just saying that, that would be the one that would put them to 6. I don't see it happening. So I definitely got Arkansas on the under.
How did that last game in Fayetteville turn out post-Thanksgiving?
What did happen? That was 2 years ago.
The Cody
right?
Schrader game, yeah.
No, that was it.
You don't throw the records out for that one.
Yeah.
However, they try to manufacture, Marty, this battle line rivalry. I'm not buying
it.
No,
it's not. It's not. Especially now that you're going to play Kansas, twice, and then it goes away for 2 or 3 years, and then it comes back.
Thank you.
Yeah. So once you reestablish that Arkansas thing is worthless. It pretty much has been anyway.
I'm 100% on the under. 100%.
Enough said, right?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Enough said. No offense, Talon Green, but we can't exactly be overly optimistic about Arkansas. Now, here's a fun quarterback figure. I don't know about the program as a whole, but did it send some shockwaves through the nation for at least the early part of 2024. Vanderbilt, Diego Pavia, successfully advocates for and gets another year of eligibility. There are a lot of tentacles to his story. It's a fascinating story at that. But the talent that surrounds him, guys, in 2025. Vanderbilt overachieved as much as it could a season ago and took advantage of a very, very compromised Missouri program relatively early in the schedule. How that game went to overtime, I still don't know. Give the Commodores some credit. That Alabama game, it goes without saying. But now, Pavia is no longer operating under the radar. Everybody knows, everybody's circling who else can actually step up, help him. Is the offensive line going to be in a shambles, or is it actually going to allow him to engineer some more magic? Vanderbilt, to me, seems poised for an incredible letdown this year.
Well, I think they were a little bit overblown last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. And I when I go through it, they're going to lose at South Carolina. And then once you get through that, I just don't see them. They took Missouri to overtime. Now, Missouri goes down there and, stranger things have happened. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry, kids. I don't see it. I got to put Vandy on the under.
Is it a better team than Arkansas?
Yes, I think it is.
Boy.
And by how much? It's close.
Well, it's close. I would give Arkansas the benefit of the doubt because I just don't think Vanderbilt's program is such that, year in and year out, they're better than any SEC team.
You're with Coach Saban. You don't like the environment.
I guess so.
What about you, Marty?
On them, but now I will say this too. What game is it that they ain't gonna win this year? And that's the Alabama game. Even though they don't play Alabama, I don't think this year. But nonetheless, come on, really? Mm-hmm. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
It was a fun ride for what it was.
Right.
It's going to be very close. I am going to go with over 4.5, though. I think they get to 5 wins, and I think one of those wins comes against your Missouri Tigers.
Get out of town. All right. And because of that very tilt to which Marty just referred, now, is it a swing game? I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I think that the flirtation is there, 4, 5, right there in between. Vanderbilt, to me, barely, narrowly misses out. But from a team that definitely doesn't have the highest prospects, I guess the most optimistic prospects in 2025, to another that actually has the senior-most member as far as coaches are concerned in the entire conference. Mr. Stoops, Mark Stoops, 13 years on the job. Can you believe that, guys, in Lexington? And it wasn't that long ago when you were talking about the Wildcats actually infringing upon 9-10 win territory. But the bottom fell out, and it fell out hard a season ago. And I am hard-pressed to look at a lot of those portal additions and say, I'm bullish on this team engineering a turnaround in 2025. What say you?
I got the under on this one.
I tell you what. For some reason, Kentucky's that team where, like, if I bet them the under, they win one more game. I bet them the over, they win one less game. This year, man, you scan through it, and you just think to yourself, well, what's the game that gets them over the top? And they got Vandy, and they got Louisville at the end of the season. Boy, this is a hunch play. Viewers, listeners, this is a hunch. Nothing spectacular, but I think Kentucky figures out a way to win 5 games.
Okay, gets over 4.5.
They get over 4.5. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna play them on the over only because I think they win 5 games. Now, what is the game that they're going to win that they're not supposed to? I don't know, but I guarantee you Kentucky is going to beat a top 10 team, probably conference game, that they're not supposed to, but they're just going to do it because they do play defense. And I think Stoops gets the best out of his 85 scholarship guys. And so I think they win 5 games. That's all I'm saying.
I can't put them over 4.5. I think this is a really bad team, and I got them under 4.5, and I'm very confident with that pick.
And I wonder if time has actually run out for Stoops in Lexington. I know
it's a good question.
A disastrous season, that would probably it.
I really do.
Yep.
He pulls a Stoops special, and they somehow go 6-6 and make a bowl game. He's good for another couple of years.
4-8 a year ago, 1-7 in conference play.
Yeah. Could have won some of those games.
I don't envision that changing, though, given the overall talent distributed
could have won some games
across the conference.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
We do know this, however. We're pretty confident that the Wildcats will, at minimum, finish above, that squad in Starkville. It is dispiriting, guys. It is disheartening to think about what has happened there. Dak Prescott, that was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Goodness gracious. The Bulldogs. Take it.
Have you ever, picked up one of the preview magazines, or I was looking online, and just for some reason, I was first glancing, this is about, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and for some reason, I thought the Ole Miss number was Mississippi State's. And I was kind of like,
Alvin.
Wait. And I think it was just a conference record. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, hold it. Did I miss something? I was like, did a couple of kids say they're going to go to, Mississippi State and they're going to win? Wait a minute. Oh, no.
No, Kevin Coleman actually left for Mizzou.
He left, right. Yeah. So it was odd. So I said, 3.5. And I said 3.5, 4 win. No.
I got them under.
I got them under, too. Mississippi State will win I think their first 2 non-conference games. That's it. They might not win another game. So I got them literally under. I got them under. And saying a team is going to go under and you're only picked to win 3.5
I got them under hard.
I got them under hard, too. So I'm sorry. Look, we played Mississippi State in the bowl game back in 1981. I didn't know anything about Starkville, Mississippi. I've still never been there or anything. But we played Mississippi State. Johnny Cooks. Great defensive player. Didn't do crap in NFL, but was a great defensive player. But this whole cowbell thing, we got indoctrinated to that because we played in Alabama. We played in Birmingham. So, we got the whole cowbell thing. Mm-hmm. And I always remember that, And, now, apparently, they still do the cowbell thing because nobody's at the game. And it literally sounds like some cows walking in from the field. Jeez. I feel bad for Mississippi State. Y'all ain't winning no 4 games.
So it's like Busch Stadium was last Monday when I went to that game.
Oh, holy moly.
It's neither here nor there.
No, goodness gracious.
We can arrange a trip, though, to Starkville. Now is the time, Marty, but tell us why this is the bottom feeder of all bottom feeders in the country, apparently.
No, this program is a joke. It's in a lot of trouble right now. I see 2 wins.
4 playoff teams, including Arizona State, Tennessee, Texas, Georgia, they actually visit Starkville. And on top of that, here's what head coach Jeff Lebby, your number 2, if I'm not mistaken, has to contend with, to deal with, to put out there on the field. 80% of his roster is constituted of first and second year players. And we're not talking about the cream of the crop across the nation in the SEC right now.
Right.
Ugly times for the Bulldogs. But we've had a pretty beautiful time here on this occasion, guys. A mega-sized SEC preview.
Yes.
So we are psyched to have this one in the can. And before long, hey, fear not, we will also wade into Big Ten country. We're talking about the Fighting Illini. Coaches have Illinois, Brett Bielema's squad, ranked 12th. We'll see what the AP has to say along those lines. You know, the defending national champion, OSU. You've got Oregon. You've got Penn State, a gaggle of contenders. And we're going to work more than just a tidbit of Notre Dame conversation into the proceedings as well. But one last thing for you guys before we get out of here on the 101 ESPN YouTube channel and 101ESPN.com. Bradford Bruns, Marty Jenkins, and Alvin Reid on this occasion. If you could look beyond week number 1, maybe in your crystal ball, week number 5, when everybody is after it, rivalry games aplenty, what is the one environment, what is the one game that we need to be paying attention to, and maybe a star-making performance, somebody a little under the radar or maybe not of the magnitude of Sellers, okay, or at the quarterback position. Everybody wants to talk Manning, Sellers, etc. To whom else should we actually be paying attention in this conference, and some big-time, high-caliber games as well? I know week 1 is definitely right there. Week 5 is there for us, but is there something else that maybe you guys have in mind as well?
Well, I could tell you a team.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think USC is getting a little bit underplayed, and I understand that USC is like they got this great recruiting class that begins this year, but like next year, right now they have like one of the top recruiting class for the team that will take the field in 2026. Watch them in the Big Ten. Okay. That's kind of where I think USC is getting a little underplayed because USC was one of those teams that like USC did everything but win that game.
Right.
At Wisconsin, or maybe they hang on won that one. The Notre Dame game. USC was close in a lot of games, and they blamed on the coach. Oh, we signed him in $20 million or whatever. You know, right? His buyout is $50 million or something like that. But USC, that's USC will make some noise in the Big Ten that I don't think people are expecting.
I think finally James Franklin and company break through. I love that squad. I think they run the table.
All right.
Okay, but we got to pick up on that. I hear what you're saying. But boy, you talk about the ultimate. You got to prove it.
Yeah, they're going to prove it this year. They got the man throwing the ball. They bring back a lot. I think they run the table. Now, who knows what happens when you get into that playoff?
Well,
I think they break through, and I think they get to the Final Four.
All right, they're going to lose to Pitt or West Virginia like they always do.
At any rate, you are going to hear much more about that program, Nittany Lions, and an assortment of different squads in the Big Ten in a matter of days here on the College Football Connection. For Marty, for Alvin, my name is Bradford Bruns. Guys, we are back before you know it again. But until that point, have a great one, St. Louis. Always appreciate your watching and your listening. 101 ESPN, the YouTube channel, and 101ESPN.com. Until next time, take care.
Cool.
Thanks for listening to the College Football Connection podcast on 101 ESPN.